Hi everyone, welcome to Back to the Drawing Board. I am your coach and guide, Samantha. And you know what? I woke up and I went back to sleep a couple times. And this theme really came up for me to share, to discuss. First time that I've actually felt guided to really dive into this big topic. I know it's big, and I also felt the need and the feel to even for myself, open up to sharing my experience with it. So I was laying there and I realized that 10 years ago was when I started my first conscious experience with this. And it was really, really new. I had never consciously felt or admitted that I was depressed until that year. Until things really started to happen. Until emotionally there's a lot of things that started to activate for me. And it hit. It really truly hit. It was phases. But I could feel it more like during the weekends. When I wasn't working, when I was just at home, I was super down, depressed. And there's a lot of different real revelations that I started to have also with it. And it was just one of those things that I had to confront. I had to become aware of, okay, this is actually where I am right now. Okay, pretty new, but I'm just going to flow with it. Did bring up a lot of emotions with the revelations that I was receiving. And I feel like this is one of the things that I've for the most part I've been really good at just going with the flow, not fighting, not resisting it, not going super crazy deep into oh my god, what's wrong with me, or what is this. And that will always be a super big key for every single one of us. And again, it was it came in phases. I was coming in and out of them, and didn't 2015 was the year that I became conscious of it. But then I went away for years until again it came back at an even deeper level, and I was more aware of it. I want to say maybe 3 years ago, where again it was even stronger, it was even deeper. And as I continued to allow myself to just go with the flow and just let it pass, there were a lot of things that came through. There were also things that at that time one of my teachers was also shared about this, that again just really opened me up to this energy. So I want to break it down for us. When we talk about D, we talk about going down, right? And then we take this press, which is actually pressure. pressure. Hope you can see that. We're going to take the I and just add an S and then on. So a deep, actually this also stands for deep. A going deep down because of the extreme pressure. And think of a switch, right? Like a switch has been turned on, is on. This switch of feeling deep pressure is on. And the pressure, I feel like most of us at some level don't realize how big the pressure has been for years, decades, maybe all of your life. The pressure of fitting in, the pressure of survival, the pressure of pleasing everyone, the pressure of having to constantly meet some sort of expectations, right? From family, from friends, from partners, from society, from boss, you name it, from kids. Pressure. We also give ourselves a lot of pressure, an enormous amount of pressure. Giving or being in this constant, maybe demanding too much, maybe over critiquing ourselves, right? Over analyzing. I mean, there's so much that we put ourselves down, even subconsciously. There's so much that we are constantly like feeling not good enough is like the pinnacle of this reality of being, of the human experience. And we don't realize how incredibly big and heavy that can actually be. Okay, we live disconnected at some level from every part of our being. So we come into this acceptance of this pressure as if it were normal, and we settle into a very subconscious comfort space where, oh, okay, this is my comfort space, it's all cool, I can do this, I can survive without going into the emotional, into the mental depression state, which is also where it's like all of us, I was there too for a really long time until 10 years ago. It hit me. One of the biggest things during that phase was my lack of self-love. That was one of my biggest like ahas, and it took me down. Again, opened up a lot of emotions. I remember just crying about it. And then just kind of like allowing my body to reset. This right here is a deep rest and reset. Sorry if it's a little small. Deep rest and reset. And again, that allows you to not resist it. Remember that whatever you resist persists. And this is such a huge one because the level of resistance that we all have is so subconscious and is so deep, we don't even know it. We don't even know that we're doing it. So when our bodies hit a phase where it's finally feeling and sensing just how deep the pressure has been, just how deep and heavy this holding on to certain beliefs, holding on to, certain levels of expectation of doing things in this way, or being like this, or having this, or not having this. When it finally hits, the body goes through a deep rest. Again, which we have coined it as depression. But even that has to change. And I believe that every single word in our, deeply separated vocabulary has to change. Automatically there's resistance to depression. Automatically there's this even some level of concern. And it's not that concern is not good, but you have to be able to feel where you're coming from, right? What's the energy attached? It's almost like fear. If you latch onto fear, you can stay in that fear, and the fear can grow. If you see and recognize the fear and become present with the energy and allow yourself to feel it, the fear starts to dissolve. So kind of in that same idea, depression is a deep reset. Okay? And that, in order for your body to go through that, it will require a lot of rest. Okay? So I went through my second phase again, about four years ago, where again it was even deeper. I didn't even want to wake up. I was in bed until afternoon sometimes. And I want to mention, and I want to also say that I still go through these phases. And it has evolved. And it evolves, even though this, every time that I have gone through depression consciously for the last 10 years, this is what is going on. Part of what's going on is the dissolution of the self that has been holding on to that heaviness, to that amount of pressure. But I didn't know about all that 10 years ago. I just went with the flow, which supported me a lot. And then, 6-7 years later, that's when more information came through, more awareness started to come through, and I started to realize, oh, okay, this is what's going on. I'm going through a deep, deep dissolution of the person, of the aspect that is still holding on to certain paradigms, certain realities, certain beliefs that hold an enormous amount of pressure and that go against who I am, go against my essence, go against what I came here to be and do. And so the amount of rest that is required at times is going to be a lot. I've also been hearing that a lot more people are going through this phase. A lot more people have been activated, which is very, 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 very awesome. because your body is saying, I am ready to reset. I am ready to let myself be free from all of these expectations, from all of these old belief systems, from the idea that I have to be something other than who I am and what I really am. And so we start to go through this process as a very normal phase, as a very normal like wave. And allowing yourself to honor this phase, allowing your body to honor what it needs to complete this phase is super, super important. There's always going to be a completion to any and every phase that you go through. When something elongates, like feels like it's you're going through it and you've been going through it for a long time, then there's a level of completion that hasn't been reached. There's still a very subconscious level of resistance that you may have no clue about that elongates that process. And so it's really important to realize that there will always be, we will always need to reach a level of completion. Okay, that's when we're like, oh, okay. After, hours, after days, maybe after weeks, you go through like, oh, okay, I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling like, okay, I'm over the hump, right? And again, if fear comes through, if some level of concern comes through from the mindset of this is bad, you should not have this, or you should not feel like this, or you shouldn't go through this, that's where we need to open ourselves up to. This is very normal and actually necessary part of this process. The more that you open up to it, the more that you allow it, the more that you honor it, the faster it completes. So, for those of you that have been going through this for a long time, maybe, for those of you that have been going through it recently and it's a new experience, allow yourself to open up a little bit more to it. Okay? Feel. Really start to feel and ask yourself, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to receive more support too? Okay, there's levels to this and everyone's different. So you have to really feel into what kind of support you need. What kind of additional support? There might be additional support. You might need to reach out. And this is very, very, very important. It's very important to know that you're not alone and that there are different levels of support, right? Things that your body will tell you, because your body knows exactly what you need. So this is why I'm very adamant, and I say this a lot. Ask your body, your soul body, your higher self body, what do I need to do, and what else can support me during this phase. Really, truly important. So, just wanted to share that because, again, I've been hearing people going through this phase that one I've never heard of. Now, that doesn't mean that they've never gone through that phase, but it's kind of it's been coming up, in certain throughout the past couple years of people that have been feeling this. that maybe have never admitted it, or that I've never heard, them going through that phase. And this, again, is a very powerful phase, because, again, it's the dissolution of your small self. That's ready to go. That's ready to integrate. That's ready to make space for your higher infinite aspect. So, thanks for being here. Thanks for being open. Thanks for listening. And you're more than welcome to reach out if you have any questions. I'll put my information below. And I'll see you guys next time.